I can get water from the kitchen. I thought I wasn't going to go back there, but let's do that. Let's go get some water in that jug I picked up. I was wondering, because that barrel of water was very suspicious. Like, it seemed important. Oh, nope, I don't want the shoebox, thank you very much. But what I do want is to fill this jug with water. I don't know what I'll need it for, but now I have a water jug. Oh, okay, I just have to investigate. I have to investigate the bookshelves in the library to find the place where to put the book. So I had the right idea, I just assumed that it would be putting the book on the suspicious-looking part of the bookshelf that very clearly is intended to move, when that was not, in fact, the case. So, here we go. Let's drop it right at the exit so that I can pick it up real quick. Take your time, Emily. You're not in threat of being swiped by the vagabond or anything. So let's search around. Oh, there's a mechanism. Oh, perfect. I just happened to find it right away. It's a fake book. Oh, I didn't read it before. Okay. Drop or put the fake book. Perfect. Whoa, what is this? I'm not going to approach that because it seems real dangerous, so let's just investigate what's here. A dagger. Oh, that's the ceremonial dagger. That, there's so many daggers. Let's look at the parchment, then. Oh my gosh. Did Emily, like, investigate and have the opportunity to pick up everything on that entire bookshelf? Because that's what it looked like. Wow.
The Book of Yael, Signs of Stone.
Oh, here we go. This might give us a hint on what to do
of
next.
Forbidden cults. Texts collated by Monsignor Vacher, legate in the Curia of the Vatican.
Numerous devilish cults speak of monstrous creatures called the Old Ones. These supernatural beings are believed to be possessed of powers equivalent to those of the gods of antique religions. Adepts of such cults refer to forbidden literature in order to cause these frightful entities to
I wonder where these voice
appear
actors
before
came
them.
from. This is a time when you would just hire people, you know, the developers themselves would do a lot of the voice acting, as well as, like, the receptionist in the lobby and stuff like that.
What serious student of folk myths
There
has
they
not
are!
come across the
The
names
infamous
of
names!
Cthulhu and Shub-Niggurath?
My goodness.
It must be said that these creatures
Oh yeah,
wield
the developers
tremendous
getting their
power
family
and are
to
difficult
help.
to control once they have been
Definitely.
unleashed into the world. Those who serve He who goes in shadows protect themselves with signs of stone carved into the walls of houses or engraved on various objects.
I'm starting to understand why the developer of this game might have been disappointed, because they clearly are taking the kind of mysticism, you know, horrors, eldritch horrors. That's what I was looking for. They're taking the eldritch horrors very seriously, and the end result is kind of silly. It's kind of campy.
For those misguided servants of evil, the best protection appears to be that afforded by the sign of the most ancient gods, engraved in Manar stone, a heavy material said to be disagreeable to the touch.
Oh, we probably can't just pick it up without gloves or something.
The sinful
Most ancient gods I can
practices
think of are like
those who fall
Pazuzu,
into such errors
who would like
can
ward off
only lead to the darkest
he
of
would ward off
despair,
the evil spirit that
and
would
are
eat
a
babies.
mortal danger to the soul. Such monsters as those invoked by these foolhardy individuals are engendered when reason drops its guard. Man is easily tempted into perversion. It is why we must forever remain alert and renounce Satan with each breath we take. His ways are infinite in number.
Okay. I keep talking over the dialogue, but I'm kind of like... So clearly the thing on the table back there is a protective
The
amulet
sacrificial dagger,
that they're talking
Otto
about.
Stern,
And then there's the dagger
Lumina
on the
Books.
table. And there's a dagger on the shelf, I should say. We'll have to see like if it's worth...
The importance placed on ritual
Oh my
sacrifice
goodness.
is constant in religious cult practice. Propitiating the gods is a theme common to many religions. The Old Testament affords many examples. Primitive polytheistic belief systems integrate sacrifice in their rituals as part of the recurrent process of reaffirmation and, naturally enough, group cohesion.
This accent. It reminds me that Dutch and German people typically treat TH a little more subtly than that. But anyway.
The members of their social and religious community come together in an act of purification and atonement.
I think it would be more like the members of the social and religious community come together in an act of purification and atonement. That sounds a little more German to me than what this guy was doing.
It would be erroneous to imagine the act of human sacrifice linking priest, offering, and God, C.F. Manzetti, Stone Cults, as anything less than a vital focusing of the group's faith. The act also ensures the continuing appeasement of the god, but only if practiced by a recognized officiating priest using the appropriate instrument.
Anything less than the vital focusing. It's like... Wait, it's like somebody pretending to be, what's his name? I don't know. I can't even remember the names.
Studies made concerning
To make the
primitive religious
jokes.
groups bear witness to the central role of sacrifice in living ritual.
Ritual.
My own work in the field of ethnopsychology brought me into contact with a sorcerer living in the region of Arkham. He introduced me to the rite of steel, linked to a ceremony known as adoring the black goat of the woods with 1,000 youngs. The god being adored is known as the vagabond.
Oh, so this is going to be how to kill the purple monster, the vagabond. Yeah, something like... I agree, the art style and the music kind of numbs out the potential horror. But it's hard to criticize without being unfair. Yeah, it's easy to look back on games at this time. Because something I think Pushing Up Roses highlighted this in her video on this game, that the developers had to come up with, to get the 3D models to move, you know, they had to invent their own technology. That's the era of video game development that you're working in, especially with 3D game development, because I was looking up numbers. I got the date wrong, Blank Icon, you had it right. You were much closer, you guessed 91, but this is 92. And so, like, Star Fox for the Super Nintendo was 1 year away still. And, like, other 3D offerings were like, you know, Wolfenstein 3D, which is not even really 3D. Yeah, there was no Maya back then, indeed. Or Blender or anything.
Here, the dagger's role, which allows the life breath to pass from one dimension to another, is essential. The vagabond is a
This guy's kind
frightening
of turning into
figure,
Peter Lorre.
being able to move where he wants and to kill those who have displeased the goat god, for whom he acts as a go-between. The goat is clearly a fertility god. The priest, having spoken the invocation, must choose the appropriate dagger for the sacrifice.
I was trying to think what other games did kind of a true 3D art style. I guess Elite, like the original Elite, kind of cheats 3D with its like vector line stuff. But I mean, that was also like Battle Tanks. Battle Tanks did that before Elite
The
did.
knife with a sinusoidal blade that must be dipped 7 times on night when the moon is full in water that has been distilled 100 times, will be laid aside, since it would send the vagabond back into his own dimension.
Ah.
See illustration.
So we gotta dip this in appropriate water to kill the vagabond.
The priest will rather choose the dagger with a curved blade. That is more appropriate for slitting of the lamb's throat. This act transfigures the sorcerer priest and plunges the assembled worshippers into a divine trance.
This kind of reminds me of some animistic religions, where they don't, in places that, you know, people would kind of condescendingly think of as primitive, but they don't, like,
Juan
literally
Luis
believe in
Jorge,
physically.
De Biblioteca.
They don't literally
Reflections
believe
on
in
the
this kind
power
of
the
stuff of,
verb
like,
in certain
alternate
texts.
dimensions and summoning monsters and stuff. It's,
Archaeos
like, a lot more subtle.
Publications, 1919, Stafford.
Translation does not alter the occult power contained within such forbidden texts. The malevolent energy is in no way diminished. The spell must be cast aloud and clearly, in certain languages or little-known dialects. Maglafach Fathang.
The magic words.
The reader will understand that, in the light of these revelations, I would be foolhardy to continue quoting from the text I have before me. If spoken aloud in its entirety, it would surely awaken powerful and malignant forces.
But you're not speaking aloud. This is a book. What? Unless you mean... The phrasing of that seems silly, if you think about it. It would make more sense to say, you know, I don't want to quote this because I don't want you to speak it aloud. Whatever. It sounds like he's saying if I'm speaking aloud right now, I'm summoning these things. Anyway.
I will go further and say that simple reading of some of the more technical passages describing specific practices is in itself a perilous exercise. The ill-prepared reader can easily fall prey to attacks of demented hysteria, not unlike those described in cases of individuals said to be possessed by evil spirits.
TM.
I recommend the study made by Zemf, Urbain, Grandier, and Loudon, and the reports made by the Reverend Richard Price concerning a number of astonishing, to say the least, exorcisms carried out in a parish near Providence. Given what I have written, we must be grateful to the librarians of the British Museum, who have never allowed consultation of the work of Al-Azif's startling work, the infamous Necronomicon.
I was about to say, I was thinking about the Evil Dead and the Necronomicon as a portal to the afterlife. I suspect that the actual book that the Necronomicon comes from, or that it refers to, is not at all occult. Because the ancient Egyptians had a Book of the Dead, but it was like instructions on how to prepare bodies for the afterlife.
Copies of that work do exist, in spite of the zeal of book-burning inquisitors. For proof, we need look no further than the British Museum, of course, and the sealed archives of the Miskatonic University in Arkham.
But yeah, this game is probably closer to the Evil Dead 2 than like Trouble at Innsmouth or whatever. I forget what the book was called, but the
Other
Lovecraft's
examples
book.
of books whose
about
evil can be
Innsmouth.
unleashed by any thoughtless reader are von Jutz's von unersprechlichen Kulten and the abominable De Vermis Mysteries by Ludwig Prien, whose sordid death should be a lesson to all those tempted by a study of the occult.
I wonder, this guy's reading of those German words sounds a little more authentic than the guy doing the accent. Alright, so we've got one more book, and then all the reading will be done.
Ludwig Prien.
Oh, there you go. In
De
order.
Vermis Mysteriis.
In order of recommendation.
Nomine invocatoris
Oh, well,
si
that's
non
not very useful.
sanctificatus es cave. De Vermis Mysteriis.
That's not very useful, is it? Because I don't know Latin. Okay. Maybe I should have been paying attention to what that other author was writing. Okay, but having read those books, I don't have to actually pick them up because I know what they say. Come on, Emily. Let's get back in that room and not kill yourself by reading a book.